Hey, welcome back to Two Stupid Guys Try Socks. I'm Dylan.
And I'm Vinny. And man, oh man, as Dylan has predicted and said multiple times, one single tweet will change all of your market making, all of your market trades, your fortunes, everything. You're going to be bankrupt one second and then like a multimillionaire the next, according to one tweet by one single man. And we're going to talk about what it did to the market on Friday.
This
Right?
is insane. It really is
Yeah.
crazy. It's like fundamentals don't matter at all anymore. Just tweets.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, look at this like U-turn here in the middle of the market
Yeah,
on Friday. Just
yeah.
just like yeah. And like this isn't a small move. We're talking about like it was like what 2% the market was up before this. It was a pretty significant move. And then all
hmm
of a sudden just like boop, sell off and we actually did find a bottom and kind of eased off the losses like towards the end of the day to eke out a small gain for the market, but it's just dramatic how much we swung around one tweet effectively.
Yeah. Anytime one tweet can go from a 2% deficit to a 1%, I mean, that's crazy. That's wild. Just one
Yeah.
tweet. That's
So
wild.
yeah, absolutely. It does actually matter a little bit. I'm going to talk about what the
It
tweet
does.
was and kind of what the context is here. So yeah, I'm sorry. I kept calling it a tweet. I should probably call it a truth, right? Isn't that the correct parlance
Is
here?
that. Wait, hold on. Yeah. Is this X or is this Truth? So what is his?
Truth
Truth Social?
Social. It's from his actual retruthing platform here. You can tell because it says three truths down here.
I did
Um,
not know that. I literally
yeah.
have never noticed the retruths thing until you said that. That's
Yep.
weird.
Yep. So basically, Trump came out and attacked Canada, and not with missiles, not GBU-57s this time, but with words. Okay,
hmm
uh, talking about the fact that he was unhappy with. Let me get to the point here. It's the digital services tax on our American technology companies, direct and blatant attack on our country. Obviously, copying the EU, and they've done the same kind of thing based on this egregious tax. We are hereby terminating all discussions on trade with Canada effective immediately. This is you ever seen the kid that gets really mad, he keeps getting like blocked in like a sport, and then all of a sudden just picks up the ball and runs away and takes it home with him.
You mean
So
like the entire argument between him and Elon Musk? We have
yes,
multiple of those in
yeah,
high positions.
yeah. Well, that's exactly what he's doing here. This is he's like puffing and puffing and just taking the ball like, nah, I'm not going to even engage you guys in discussions at this point. I'm just going to leave the table. Okay.
I
Um,
I do. Can
in
we go back
particular,
to that tweet real quick,
yeah,
or not tweet, whatever it is, truth?
truth.
Um, I do think that dairy products that is a bad example. I don't know because they're doing that to protect their own. They have a specific. I don't remember what it's called. It's like a supply management system, but they're doing that to protect their own dairy industry. So like, I don't have a problem with that.
Yeah,
Other
it's
things,
kind of
sure.
funny. Yeah, like I don't have an opinion on that either. It's like but it's not related to the underlying discussion here. It's like they once charged us 400% tariffs on this one particular industry. It has nothing to do with what we're talking about at this particular point in time. But I'm not mentioning this really bad thing from
Yeah,
our perspective that we did at one point in time. It's like cherry picking data, right?
yeah. No, it is 100%. That's stupid.
All right. So this is the digital service tax on large multinational technology companies. This is the Google AI actual summary here, which I thought was pretty useful. 3% levy on revenue, okay, from Canadian users only. This tax applies retroactively back to January 1st of 2022. Retroactive taxes, I don't really like that, how that sounds or
That's
feels. That's kind of
yeah.
ridiculous to me.
I agree.
Um, this law was enacted in 2024, so it's not like it just got passed, but they did decide to make it retroactive, and the first payments due June 30th of 2025. So that's why they're making a big deal about it right now. Is that all this money is about to be transferred from these U.S. technology companies to the Canadian government because of this? Right?
Okay.
Uh, what's that?
No, I'm just listening. That's just I don't a retroactive tax seems absurd. Sorry, I'm just listening.
Yeah, no, no, completely agreed. I completely am with you on that. And revenue tax, I don't really love the idea of a revenue tax as
Nope.
opposed to like taxing on profits,
Yep.
because some companies are just not as efficient with delivering that to the bottom line, and you're taking it right off the top. So sure, okay, they're gonna have to change their prices over time. That'll happen, and it's designed to really be large companies only here because they set a kind of a global revenue minimum, and then the Canadian minimum as well. So they have to earn a certain amount of money in Canada before it starts to take effect. Ultimately it's going to be I'm going to show you the slide of like all the different companies in the US that still be paying this. All right, but why it matters. So they've argued that it's discriminatory and unfairly targets American companies. Largest multinational tech companies are largely American based. Down here, they mentioned some of the companies that are involved here: Amazon, Google, Meta, Uber, Airbnb was another one that I saw listed. The estimates we'll get to in a second here. But this initial like lump sum will be larger because, like I said, it's retroactive. It's due for the last two and a
Right.
half years, effectively. So fair chunk of money that they have to cough up. In particular, the trade war and why it pivoted the stock market so aggressively is when you look at what regions or countries are the largest trade partners for the U.S. Right here at the top of the list, Canada. All right,
Right.
and it's not unilateral where we sell a lot to them. It's kind of a mutual assured destruction here where we import a lot from them and we export a lot to them. We have very much intertwined economies, if you will. So having any disruptions in that kind of trading relationship is bound to have ripples throughout the entire economy, which is why the market actually really cares about that one in particular, much more so than we do about our trade agreements with, like, I don't know, let's say Uganda or some other random nation that is not in the top 10 of the list here.
Right. Got it.
Yeah. So been consistent trading partners, long history of supply chain integration. So it's not even as simple as we sell a lot of finished products to them, or vice versa. There's a lot of products that are kind of produced across the border, where you have like Ford has multiple plants in Canada, GM produces parts there. So you have things that are ultimately an American-made product that has production sources for some of its major components that are in Canada. So any sort of trade disruption in there can have significant impacts that would be really hard to suss out in terms of a detailed analysis of the cost. I mean, over time they would figure it out, but initially the reaction is bound to be pretty negative because no one's going to know exactly what it's going to be. As far as like what we get from them, it's kind of funny that where was it here? So vehicles, machinery, and energy products, and bakery goods. And then vice versa, coming back, Canada's leading exports to the United States are energy products, vehicles, and
Okay.
agricultural products.
Nice.
So it's a lot of the same categories going back and forth across the border.
Yeah. I got a question here. So these are huge companies: Apple, Google, Meta, Amazon. What would happen if they just didn't pay it? Like, let's say Apple is just like, yeah, I didn't agree to that.
Yeah,
No. And this might be a stupid thing. I don't know how this works. What are they going to do? Like, they can't do it. They could just be like, all right, no more Apple, which that is going to cripple a lot of people. Like, what? No more Google, no more Meta.
yeah.
That's going to take a lot of things away. I don't think that's a huge threat to the
So
company.
yeah, I agree. I doubt they would ever even get to that point. And you have to think about administration recently, where you've seen that to a lot of these companies, where you had what Zuckerberg and Bezos and Tim Cook and Sundar Pichai were all at his inauguration, right?
Yeah.
So he very much has a relationship where they listen to each other, which is why it's interesting that this tax in particular, which really affects these extremely large American tech companies, which are very profitable and frankly can afford it, all of a sudden being the whipping boys of this whole tax situation between the U.S. and Canada. So, yes, I agree that unfairly targets American companies, but to completely walk away from trade talks with Canada, which can have serious
Oh
impacts on
yeah.
other parts of the economy, is probably a little short-sighted in terms of like who you're helping.
Well, just as a good example, let's not forget we had at one point like a 200% tariff or something on crazy on China, and now we have a deal. So, like, just a matter of a tweet. Truth.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah, I
whatever it
know,
is.
right? Confusing. So this is one article from Washington Post that actually came out with an estimate of how much they think this will cost per year. That these major tech firms are estimating between 900 million and 2.3 billion would be paid in terms of taxes for this one digital service tax to Canada. So a couple $1 billion. We're talking about the trade between the U.S. and Canada is 750, $800 billion per year. So this is a small pittance compared to the overall trade between the two countries,
Mm-hmm. Right.
which is why I was like, I don't know. It's a little bit of a shiny, dangly thing that sure, it matters. And this is as someone that my portfolio is heavily invested in Google, Meta. These are the companies, Apple, that I own predominantly. So it's going to affect me As far as like the overall tariff war here, this is an interesting. I wanted to make a couple of point highlights as far as like how much of an effect it has had in revenue generation. So this is an economist saying basically our effective tariff rate went from 2.5% to 15.8 now under Trump, as of now. Never mind any further escalation. Right.
Okay.
And if you look at the revenue generated from tariffs in the U.S., this is a chart showing basically monthly average revenue from tariffs. Quite a big swing there.
Yep. Nope.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a lot.
But don't forget, this is up to date for 2025 so far. This is the amount of revenue for the U.S. government. This little yellow circle here is actually tariff duties. Even this year, even after that big jump up, still only 2.3% of the overall revenue collected so far this year.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, we got a kind of a lot of problems here, but that's a different video.
Yeah.
I'm gonna say in 2 weeks, this is better.
I would agree.
I think 2 weeks. You're going over under 14 days
Over under 14 days.
for a trade
By
deal. Trade deal Canada.
trade deal Canada, I'm going to say over 14 days.
Over
But I
14
think it's
days?
better in 2 weeks.
Okay. Okay, I'll take that. I'd agree. Let us know what your odds are, guys, cuz I mean, one tweet. That's all it takes.
One tweet. Yeah.
Later.
See you later.